Howdy folks, welcome to Post to Post. My name is Neil. If you're new, thanks for joining me today. We're wrapping up this kind of mini series. We're talking about every division. The last one that I have not talked about, which is going to be in this video, is the Central. We're getting back to the regular Central division. No more of this other weird COVID, arrangement stuff. Back to the regular Central division, except for we have a new team. That's right. Arizona has transferred from the Pacific to the Central because the Kraken came in and took their Pacific position. So they are now in the Central, which is okay, I guess. I think a lot of people suspect that Arizona may move, but that's a conversation for 1,000 other videos in the future. So let's talk about these teams individually and answer the question: are these teams going to do better than they did last year? Let's go through every team individually very quickly and kind of answer that question. No personal opinion. I don't think I'm right, just personal opinion. Let's start off with Arizona. Last year, they were 24, 26, and 6. They came 5th. Pretty much an average season. I personally think that they're going to do about the same. There's a couple of notables I have written down here for them, but I generally see them kind of doing the same. Maybe a bit of a bubble team. Not sure if they're going to make the playoffs. If they do, they likely won't go far, but I personally believe that they will miss the playoffs this year. Notables is Kessel. He's going to be a UFA after this year, so he's really playing for a contract. All eyes are going to be on him, and he lost some help this year, so the team I don't think the team is as offensively gifted as it was last year, so they got some holes to fill potentially. Next on here is Gosh Spare, so a really good addition to the team. And they lost a few people, so they're trying to plug the holes as best they can, and he's really looking to kind of revitalize his career a little bit. He's still young, but there's expectations were so high for him that I feel like he's fallen short a little bit, so he's going to try and turn his career around. Depth, they actually do, I think, have some underrated depth on the team, but the biggest notable for me of anything that's going on in Arizona is the drama. It's just like the arena drama, the ownership drama, the management drama, the penalty drama with getting, the whole draft situation where they've been penalized and they lost a draft pick. Just everything, all the drama going on in Arizona right now. I think it's going to be a distraction for the team, regardless of how well that they were built. I think it's going to be a distraction, and I'm concerned for that franchise success long term. I don't believe they're going to stay in Arizona long term, which is unfortunate. And I mean that. Chicago, let's talk Chicago. I believe that they are going to do better. They are going to do better this year. They were 24, 25, and 7 last year. They came 6th in the division. So a couple of notables for this coming year. Jonathan Taves, obviously, that's we're going to keep our eyes on him. He basically missed an entire year for the most part. DeBrincat had a really, really good year last year. It was awesome to see, but I want to see him continue with that. I really want to see him continue to produce and kind of be that shining light on that team. Tyler Johnson joined the team as well, so he's never played for a different team rather than the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's going to be interesting to see him on the team, see how well he joins the crew and what line he plays on. I'm really curious to see. I know there's been some switching in preseason games and stuff, but like a solidified line, I want to see who's going to play with and the chemistry there. Jones, obviously a pretty big acquisition there. Let's keep our eye on him. Defense is probably the issue for me in Chicago. I'm a little concerned on their back end. I think that's kind of their weak point. Drama as well, I have written down here for Chicago because of the whole legal case that's been going on in the past really year and a half. It's been, or maybe even longer, maybe close to 2 years now. It's still ongoing. We're still learning things very slowly, and that's just eating away at that franchise. So keep our ears open for new information there. And then Fleury is the last notable I have written down here for Chicago. I think he's the reason why I think they're going to do better this year. He still has that spark in him, and I think he's going to carry them into potentially a playoffs spot. I don't think that Chicago is going to go deep in the playoffs. I'm not predicting them to go even to the second round or the conference finals, or definitely not the Stanley Cup finals. But I think they might squeak into the playoffs. I think they have an opportunity here, and I think Fleury is maybe their best shot at getting that opportunity. Colorado, let's move on to them. I personally believe that Colorado is going to do worse. I think they're going to do worse. Last year, they were 39, 13, and 4. They came first in the division. They lost in the second round against Vegas. After watching that first game against Vegas in that series, I just thought, well, this team's going to win the Stanley Cup. Like, who's going to stop Colorado? And then they didn't win the series. Like, I couldn't believe it. So notables, Grubauer is no more. He is gone. So that means that Darcy Kemper has come in, and goaltending becomes the biggest issue for me in Colorado. I think it's going to be their downfall. I'm not saying that their goaltending tandem or situation is terrible. I just think that I I just don't see this being a Stanley Cup worthy goaltending situation in Colorado. So I'm actually really concerned about it. So that's the main reason why I think they're going to do worse. Kadri is the other notable I have on here. Every year he finds himself in a terrible situation in the first round or the second round, or I guess he's never really been to the second round recently, but he needs to lock it down. He needs to just don't flick that switch in his brain that sends him over the edge, and just play normal, because he's a really good hockey player. So he has to do something. Like, this can't go on fourth or fifth year of him just being an idiot. So he needs to lock it down. Dallas. I personally believe Dallas will do roughly the same, which is kind of a bubble team. Last year, they were 23, 19, and 14. They came fifth in the division. Notables for me, Holtby, I guess that's a notable. He came from Vancouver in a very unsuccessful stint there, and becomes, I guess, potentially the backup because Bishop is hurt, and they got Khudobin, obviously. So where does Holtby slot in long term with this team? It was a really odd acquisition, but I guess they saw the injury issue with Bishop, so they had to do something. So I hope he does okay, regardless of how many games he plays. Tyler Seguin, would love to see him stay consistently healthy. Last year was an issue, obviously. Kiviranta, one of my favorite players in the entire NHL. Can't wait to watch more of this kid. Gonna have my eye on him. And probably the most underrated player on the team is Robertson, the rookie from last year. Had an awesome season. I can't wait to watch more of him this year. And then the acquisition of Suter as well. So Kind of a strange one. I don't know how he's going to fit in, but he might do okay, actually. So we'll see what happens there. Minnesota, I predicted they're going to do the same. I kind of see them making the playoffs, but not really going too far. So last year they were 35, 16, and 5. They came third in the division. They lost in the first round to the Vegas Golden Knights. Notables for me is, Kaprizov. The most important and obvious one. He signed that big contract. He's locked in. He's going to play. He's not going back to Russia. If he can repeat, risky contract. I'll say that. Risky contract. Not a lot to build on here, but if he can come into the season and do the exact same thing he did last season, Minnesota is going to be a fun team to watch, like it was last year. Underrated player here coming up, Fiala. I love Kevin Fiala. I'm so happy that he's on the team and having career seasons, basically, with Minnesota. I can't wait to watch more of him, and hope he keeps it up. Talbot had a really good year last year. Hope he keeps it up again this year. Keep our eyes on him. For me, the probably weak point is the defense with Minnesota. They do not have above average defense. I think they're in the bottom half of the league as far as defensive defensemen and maybe reliable defensemen. So I have concerns there for sure. Nashville, I believe they're going to do worse. Last year they were 31, 23, and 2. They came fourth in the division last year. They made the playoffs but lost in the first round to the Carolina Hurricanes. Notables, UC Saros. He is the starting goaltender officially, regardless of Pecorino was there last year, but he's done now, which is unfortunate. Had an awesome career, but UC Saros is the guy this year officially, so there's the pressures on his shoulders. They also have David Reddick, who came in, and he is very inconsistent. He had such an incredible little sections of his career in Calgary where he looked amazing, and then other sections is just not good at all. So hoping to see some consistency mostly from Reddick this year if he does play any amount of games. Depth, I see them with a lot of depth, but not necessarily offensive depth. So I think I have a little bit of offensive concerns, I guess you could say, about Nashville. They're a team that has not really changed that much, but also changed a lot. I'm not sure if that really makes sense, but on the defensive end, they've really lost some speed and mobility, and I'm concerned there as well. So Nashville's going to be a tricky team to predict this year, regardless of who's doing it. St. Louis, I kind of see them doing the same, actually. Last year, they were 27, 20, and 9. They came fourth in the division, so maybe make the playoffs, maybe not. They lost in the first round to the Colorado Avalanche. Notables for me is Buchnevich. So of all the players that kind of left teams they've been with for a while and gone to new teams, there are few that I see a better fit or match with than Buchnevich in St. Louis. I really think that he fits well in there. I can't wait to see who he pairs up with. I think he's going to have a lot of chemistry with a lot of different players on the team. So wonderful acquisition in my opinion. My next notable is Kyrou and Thomas. So I kind of loop them in together. Young guys trying to find their spot. Really good depth players. I hope to see more consistency from Thomas and more offensive ability from Kyrou, a very underrated player. And then Binnington, I had to put him on here because I just want him to cut the antics. Just play net, stop getting in people's faces, stop being a little bit of a sookie. okay, if you get pulled or if you have to go off the ice, don't cry about it. Just like be a man. Like, come on, like just stop it. Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg is going to do better, and that's not because I'm wearing Winnipeg. I'm not a Winnipeg fan. I just generally, objectively think they're going to do better. Last year, they were 30-23-3. They came third, and they lost in the second round to the Montreal Canadiens. Notables for me, can't wait to see a full official season with Dubois in Winnipeg. I think he's going to do well. Depth is a strong suit for Winnipeg. They have some of the best depth up front in the entire league, so a plus there for sure. Defense, I think, is definitely their weak point. I'm really concerned about their defense. If there's anything that needs improved, it is them. Those guys in the back end. There's not bad pairings, but the bottom three of the six on the back end, or maybe the bottom three of the seven, not great. Hellebuck, he is an incredible goaltender. One of the best in the last 3 or 4 years in the NHL, but at the same time, there's been huge games where Connor Hellebuck has looked invisible and just not great. So I don't know what kind of Connor Hellebuck we're going to get this year. I suspect a very regular season consistent play. I don't know about the playoffs, but that kind of wraps up my list here. So I said Arizona about the same, Chicago better, Colorado worse, Dallas about the same, Minnesota about the same, Nashville worse, St. Louis roughly the same, and Winnipeg is going to do better. So that wraps up the quick opinions on all these teams in this series. So tomorrow the season starts. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow I will be releasing my official predictions of all the divisions, who's going to slot where. I'm not going to do a playoff bracket. I might, actually. Depends how much time I have. But I am going to predict my Stanley Cup winner tomorrow. I'm going to tell you who I pick to win the Stanley Cup for this coming season. So stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below. Hope you guys are having a great day. And let me know what you think about the Central Division coming into this year. I'll talk to you real soon. Adios.